Starting Be'ez with Hashem Simon Kuf Samach Dal and Vayom Moshe, and we're talking about Shichas HaTorah and the Sugya in Shabbos, Daf Kuf Lam Chesim Beis, where the Rebbe just asked a couple of questions here. That there were three shitas. Just to review: Rav Shita, the Tanaim of Keren B'Yavne, and Reb Shimon Bar Yochai. Not in chronological order, obviously. And the Rav and the Keren B'Yavne Tanaim held the Torah will be forgotten, and they brought different psukim to prove it. Reb Shimon Bar Yochai held it won't be forgotten, and he proves it from the pasuk V'loisi shachach mipi zaroi. It won't be forgotten from the mouth of its seed. So the problem was that what did the other Tanaim do with that pasuk of V'loisi shachach mipi zaroi? Okay. The Maharsha Kasav. The Maharsha answers this up. To Ladas Reb Rashbi, according to Reb Shimon, Hachkra de V'onsa Hashira Hazois, that the pasuk of V'loisi shachach mipi zaroi is written in Vayelech. And it's going on the Shir of Hazinu. Right before Hazinu, Moshe Rabbeinu, Hashem tells him, write down this Shira of Hazinu and teach it to the Bnei Israel, because there'll come a time when they'll do Avodah Zarah and they'll be punished, and then, right, the Ansa Hashira Hazois Lefonav Le'ed. This Shir will be their witness, and it will say, look, I warned you, if you do Avodah Zarah, this is what's going to happen. Okay, ki loisi shachach mipi zara, because the shir won't be forgotten from its generations, from its descendants. Okay, so the Maharsha says that's shot in the Tanaim of Keren B'Yavne. They held that it's only going on the shira of Hazinu. That won't be forgotten. Mashenk and the rest of the Torah will be forgotten. He says Hachkra. According to Reb Shimon Bar Yochai, he first starts with Reb Shimon. According to Reb Shimon Bar Yochai, Hachkra v'yansa shira azoi shesiyem be ki loisi shachach. It's going on the whole Torah. The Chein Kra, because you see, similar to this, the earlier pasuk, the Kispu Lachem Ashira Azois, the pasuk of write this Torah down, write the Shira down, Mukminin Lo B'Perek Kohen Gadol B'Torah. The Gemara in Perek Kohen Gadol, which is the second Perek of Sanhedrin, says that this is talking B'Torah Shetzarech Lichter Sefer Torah, that every man has an obligation to write a Sefer Torah. It's learned out from this pasuk, Kispu Lachem Es Hashira Azois. So obviously the Shira refers to the whole Torah. Okay? Uman de Polig, and the other Shita, the Rabban of Keren B'Yavne, Le'el B'Yomer Da Torah Tishtakach, they say the Torah will be forgotten. Muki La Hakra, the Chiloisi Shtachach B'Shira Gufei. He learns that the pasuk of Loisi Shtachach is only talking about the Shira. Okay? So now we have Pshat on both sides. Beautiful, Maharsha, right?
Oh, okay.
So that's the Maharsha. So the Rebbe asked like this: If you open up the Gemara Sanhedrin, you look at that Gemara about writing a Sefer Torah. Maybe Memra Zu B'Stam. It brings down this statement that you have to write a Sefer Torah and learn from this pasuk. It brings it just stam. It brings it without any dispute, without any qualifications. The mitzvah lichtoi Sefer Torah. It's a mitzvah to write a Sefer Torah. Mikra v'yato kisvu lachem hashira azois. V'loi hevi sham shum chaylik. The Gemara in Sanhedrin doesn't mention that anybody disagrees, bedavar, on this mitzvah, right? Because according to the Maharsha, it should come out that someone disagrees. It should come out that there's a machlokes here between Reb Shimon Bar Yochai, who holds this on the whole Torah. He's that Gemara in Sanhedrin, and then the Tanaim of Keren B'Yavne, who hold that it's only the Shira. So they'll have to come out holding that you don't have to write a Sefer Torah, you just have to write Hazinu. And finished. Okay? Gam hi halacha psuka, and this halacha of writing a Sefer Torah is halacha psuka b'poiskim, of u'monei mitzvahs. Those who count the mitzvahs, like the Rambam and the Sefer Chinuch, they write this as one of the mitzvahs. They never say there's anybody who disagrees on this mitzvah. Well, according to the Maharsha, you have to say the Oisa Brisa, that Brisa of Keren B'Yavne, the Gam Rav, and also Rav, the Soiver Shasi, the Torah Shetishtachach, that the whole Torah will be forgotten. Cholkin Lachach Stoma, the Gemara. They have to disagree with that Gemara, the Sanhedrin, the mitzvahs Ksiva Sefer Torah. Ki Ein Raya Mikra de Ashira Azois. They'll hold there's no proof from the Shira to Koyal Kol Torah that's going on the whole Torah, because they say no, Ki Im Al Ashira Gufei Bulvan. It's only going on the Shira. Okay, so you got the problem? Rambam. So to answer this, Rambam Kostav B'Perek Zayin. Really, he's going to say this is not an answer, but take a look. Rambam Kostav B'Perek Zayin Milchus Sefer Torah Mitzvah Saseh Lichtov Sefer Torah. The Rambam says it's a mitzvah to write a Sefer Torah. And he brings the pasuk that we're bringing here. Kloimar kisvu lachem torah sheyesh ba shirazu. The Rambam kvetches a little bit.
That seems to be a mitzvah l'shah, not mitzvah l'dor or l'cholzman.
It is a mitzvah l'cholzman.
But it seems like the Lush is a mitzvah l'shah. He's saying just to that door to do it.
Okay, but the Rambam says that the Gemara already says that we learn out from this pasuk that there's a mitzvah to write a Sefer Torah even today.
So how is that? So how is that distinct? It seemingly just looks l'shah.
Okay, but sometimes you look at the pasuk, you think one thing, but Chazal learned it a different way. Anyway, so the problem the Rambam had was it says kisvu lachem es hashira hazois, only the shira.
And hazim, not the whole Torah.
Not the whole Torah.
Right.
So it's like the Rambam. Kloimar kisvu lachem haTorah sheyesh ba shirazu. The Torah that has this shira.
But it is this shira, not asher yesh ba shira. But it is this shira. Dafka this, This
shira of hazinu, but in order to write hazinu, you got to write everything.
Well, the Gershons are hazinu without it. That's not right.
So take a look. Lefi she'ein koisfin haTorah parshis. Because there's a law, you're not allowed to write the Torah in separate parshas.
Where do we know this? From where do we know this law?
Because there's
very, very fair.
Yeah, well, it's in Gittin Daf Samach. I don't know if he's going to bring it here, but Gittin Daf Samach, the Gemara says Torah chasuma nitna. The Torah was given all at once, meaning that the whole 40 years in the Midbar, Moshe Rabbeinu was hearing from Hashem different pieces of the Torah, and at the end he wrote it all down and he gave it all at once. So it comes out that since the Torah was given all at once, you're not allowed to write it separately. So there's a halacha that we don't keep today, by the way, because we hold that Eis Lasos Lashem, Feris Arisecha, that today, because of the Shichas HaTorah, we are allowed to write anything we want. So we write down Chumashim, there's a Chumash Breshis, there's printed Chumashim, you can write one Parsha.
But a Sefer Torah we don't.
And yeah, even in today, Sefer Torah we don't. But in the old days, the halacha was a hard and fast halacha. You're never allowed to write any part of the Torah alone. You have to write the whole thing or nothing. That was the halacha. So therefore, if you want to write Hazinu by itself, you can't. So you have to write Breshis to Leinei Kol Yisrael. Okay? Upirshu a Beis Yosef ubach betur yordeh siman ayin reish. Beis Yosef and the Bach say that kavana hu, that the Rambam means the bal korchach iev shaloimar sheyichtov shiras hazinu bilvad. You can't say the Torah meant to write only hazinu. Given the kaimalon ein kois in the Torah parshias, we don't write the Torah as parshias. The Torah chasuma nitna. The Torah was given as one, like the Gemara in Gittin Daf Samach. V'im kain. If so, al korchach kra kalmar, the pasuk must be saying sheyichtivu kol haTorah ad shiras hazinu, that you have to write from Beishis the whole entire Torah up to hazinu. Shehu gemar shel Torah, that's the end of the Torah, except for Zuvzoi Sabracha, but it means it's basically the end of the Torah. Yuri and Sham ulafi zeh yesh hechreach mikra dema she'omer hashir hazois kol al kol haTorah kula. And now the Rebbe does an interesting thing. Now, if I would have been writing this, I would have said that's the teretz. You see, Shira Hazois Taka only means Hazinu. How do you learn from that it means the whole Torah? You learn like this, that we're saying that write Hazinu, and mainly you got to write the whole Torah.
Okay.
But the Rebbe learns the other way around. He says from here you see that that the word Shira Hazois really does go on the whole Torah, because that's Megala to you when the pasuk says write Hazinu, and you can't just write Hazinu. I have to write everything, so that's Megala to you that the Shira must mean the whole Torah. So everybody has to agree to that. So ve'ech yefarshu habraisa for Rav. How is the Braisa, which is the Tanakama of the Braisa, which is the Keren B'Yavna, and Rav, how are they going to learn that it's only going on Hazinu? How are they going to learn Delay Kol Yal Ashir Bilvad? Okay, so it's a kasha on the Marsha. The Marsha said that they learned it's only going on the Shira. The doichik lechalik, and it's a doichik. It's very forced teretz. If you want to say teretz, bein anoisim to be mechalik between the psukim. In other words, if you look in Bayelech, you'll see there are two different psukim here. And then like 5 or 6 psukim later, it says the onsa ashira hazois lefanav le'ed ki lois shachach u'pizarai. And you'll tell me that the first shira hazois is going on the whole Torah, and the second one is only going on Hazinu. That's what you might want to answer. He says that's a doichik. Yeah, the hachshir shebekrad v'yatakis v'lochem koyal kol Torah. That's going on the whole Torah. The hachshir shebekrad v'onsa shira azois shal zeh siyem ki lois shachim pizaroi loy koyal shira. That's only going on Hazinu. So like the Rebbe know that you can't say that. The kivin sheshneim smuchim beparsha achas, since they're both written very close together in Vayelech there, v'nem b'lashon echad, they're said in one type of language. Kasha lechalik b'firusha b'lashon Torah. It's fair to say that it's two different things. And even if it is two different things, it's not so obvious that it's two different things. So why didn't somebody say so? Why didn't the Gemara go out of its way to say, yeah, in the Chanami, the first one is talking about the Torah, and this one's talking only about the Shira? According to the Tanaim, that they disagree about the Pshat and the Pasuk, that they'll say that the word Shira doesn't mean the same thing in both places, like the Shas would usually do. So the Gemara always asks, what about the other man Amar? The Gemara always answers, here, nothing. The Gemara doesn't say anything about what the other man Amar does. Okay?